Hi guys, so this video I'm making now is very random, but I just felt I should say one or two things about this particular trending video. So I know most of you must have seen this trending video of a lady crying out because Home Office had sent her a message asking her to leave the country because she overworked. Mind you, if you're a student in the UK, you ought to work for just 20 hours a week. That's like your visa limit, but now she has overworked and she got into problem. If you watch that video, I was really very emotional because I could feel her pain from the depth of her heart. Like it's not a video you would make and your eyes will be dry. You need to cry, like you need to cry your heart out. And hers is even worse because hers was BSc, 3 whole years wasted. You get, if it was master's, well, no one is even actually better, but you get 3 whole years was wasted. I was trying to look for the link to the original video so that I can, but if I don't see a link to the original video, I'll post like one of the reposts, in the description box. So if you have not watched that video, if you're planning to come to the UK as a student, you have not watched that video, please check it out. If you're already here working to pay your fees as a student, you should also check it out. You should also check out my videos on working 20 hours. See, one thing about the UK is that some people will do it and go scot-free, but some others will do it and not go scot-free. Now, if you listen to her video, she said she got a notification from Home Office last year May, which means 1 year later was when they acted on that threat. You get, so she had been working over 20 hours for more than a year, and then she got that notification, and according to her, she explained to them that this is the reason I'm overworking, or that she's sorry. Now, I don't know whether after May she continued overworking or it was still for that same reason, but you can see the difference in timeline. So you could feel like, well, they've notified you, you have responded, and maybe they have forgotten about it. And then over 1 year later, we're in September. I don't know when this recent order came for her to leave the country, but more than a year later, they're now enforcing the rule. Okay, so the UK, like I said, one person must be the scapegoat. But if you are coming to the UK, this video, you should watch it. Like, you should watch that lady's video. Now, what's my input? So what do I have to say? I have a couple of things to say about this issue. So first thing is that some weeks ago, I think sometime last month or 2 months ago, I can't remember, a subscriber emailed me. You know, when I used to say, oh, send me an email, she told me that, oh, she wants to come to the UK for her BSc. She's in Nigeria, I guess. Yeah, she wants to come to the UK for her BSc, but she has a sponsor, and now the sponsor says he's going to sponsor her for just 1 year. That's within that 1 year, he will pay her 1 year school, or he or she, I don't know, the sponsor will pay 1 year school fees, will pay for her accommodation, will pay for her visa fees, IHS, basically. So sponsor her through 1 year, then the remaining 2 years she would cater for herself. And I read this message. I remember showing that message, reading it out to my friend, and my friend is like, because I felt I was overreacting, are you okay? With masters, it's different. It's just 1 year. You just sweat it out at once, and that is it. What do you mean for 2 years you cater to your accommodation, your living expenses, your school fees? Like, let's say if you're going to pay, let's say, £10,000 a year, so you're paying £10,000 in second year and £10,000 in third year. How do you think you are supposed to do this thing? I always say that if UK operated, or UK schools operated in a way that, oh, you can pay your school fees at the end of the year. Let's say your session runs from January to December. They can tell you, oh, you can pay in December. That's fine, provided you pay before the end, like the total end of the session. That would have been a more reasonable thing. Okay, you could say at the end of the month you just pay 500, just like that. You get. But it's not like that. They always have deadlines. Maybe if your session runs for like 8 months, or let's say 9 months, they tell you to pay up by the 4th month, or at most the 5th month. By the 6th month, they are locking your portal. They are, it's a ghetto. You get. So if somebody tells you, promises you, oh, I want to sponsor you for 1 year, and then you take care of yourself for the remaining 2 years, it's not a good thing. It's not the person. In fact, it's not help. Instead of that, do your BSc in Nigeria, then come here for your master's. See, I have this opinion that doing a bachelor's degree in the UK is a big financial mistake. Yes, hear me out, but this is why I say so. So if you're not doing a tech-related courses, I admit some Nigerian universities don't have like the whole technological advancement. So if you're not doing a tech-related course, maybe all this AI, all these things that require technological advancement, our universities are not that bad, especially these private universities, because you might be scared of ASU strike. That's why you don't want to go to a public university, understandable. But most of these private universities have all this technology. Most of this technology you can't go come to the UK for BA or BSc and you are doing like a regular course, let's say English and literature or social work, or courses that Nigerian universities are doing so well. You could get a degree in a Nigerian university and excel internationally with these courses. So why are you going through that whole stress of coming here to spend the money you spend here for a year? That's what you spend in a private university for 4 complete years, if I'm not even mistaken. So if you're spending £10,000 a year for a degree, like 1 year, how much is Covenant University school fees? How much is Afebe if you want to go to like the most expensive private university in Nigeria? For 4 years, you can, that school fees for 1 year in the UK. Like I said, if it's a technologically advanced course, fine, understandable. Another reason why you can come here for your BSc or your bachelor's degree is that your parents are well-to-do. So if your parents are well-to-do and can sponsor you for the 3 years, sponsor your accommodation, everything about you for that 3 years, fine. I'm just saying this because of people who have the plan of when I come, I will work and study to pay my fees for bachelor's degree for 3 whole years. It's a big financial mistake. So if your parents can afford your whole 3 years, or a family member, relative, you have a sponsor that can sponsor your whole 3 years, it's even advisable to have that money and pay upfront, because for in case of eventuality. So if you have the 3 years money complete, take everything, put it in your account or send it to the school, pay your 3 years school fees upfront, keep it down, you get, because in case of eventualities, like in her case, her dad, she lost her dad. At this point, she hadn't imagined that something like that, a loss like that would happen, and she would have to run around to cater for her school fees and all that. So let's assume her dad was alive then and he had thought about it and said, okay, let me just pay your 3 years school fees at once. So your 20 hours, you can just use it for your accommodation and of course feeding, which would have been enough. Yes, by working 20 hours, she can just get a small space, a shared apartment, and then feed herself, buy 1 or 2 things. It would have covered for that. Okay, but yeah, of course, eventuality. So a bachelor's degree in a foreign country that is more expensive is a financial mistake, unless only if you can afford it 100%. Okay, so when this news actually broke, a lot of students were scared, like, Jesus, what if, because of course some people were, okay, so a lot of students were scared. Remember in my last video where I said that your working hours is most likely you to calculate it. Like, your employers sometimes they have other things they are busy with. They are not busy counting how many hours you've worked, only in rare cases. Okay, now if you listen to her video, she said Home Office contacted her employers, which means her employers hadn't even taken notice that she was working over 20 hours. This brings me also to my last video where I said it's your duty to calculate your hours, most likely not your employer's duty, because they are more engaged with other things. Okay, so in your calculation, make sure that you are prompt, you know what you are calculating, that, oh, this is and when you exceed the 20 hours, I've even said it again, that there's a limit to how you can maneuver or whatever. There's always a limit. So don't go and do it and overdo it to the point that you are alerting Home Office. Like I said, as a student, there's an expected amount. Like the taxable amount for us is like 12,000. When you start exceeding 12,000 something, that's when like that money is taxable. So imagine a student earning like 20 something K, like annually, 30, almost, or maybe 25K. How the Home Office starts asking, how is that possible, what's happening, and they start checking your records and seeing that you are flouting the law and all of that. So I really feel pity for her. I hope she gets help. I and my friends were kind of analyzing this situation yesterday, like saying, oh, what are the chances, what are the possibilities that the UK would forgive her and all of those things. So instead of putting yourself in that position where you start asking pros and cons, would they forgive me, or would they not forgive me, just try and use your wisdom and do something. Okay, so this, like I said, is an impromptu video. I just wanted to react to that thing and just basically share my opinions on what I like, the whole situation about exceeding your work hours. Just be careful about it, use your sense, and basically, yeah. So thank you for coming to my little and brief tech talk. See ya in the next one. Bye. No, toodles. It always has to be toodles or nothing else. Toodles.